Welcome everyone to today's webinar. Today we'll be doing the Website Live Designer. This is the beginner version of the Homepage Designer. My name is Mickey. My co-host today is Michael, and we will be doing today's webinar. So I'm going to be presenting the topics for the Website Live Designer today. Michael will be handling all Q&A during this session, and there'll be a time at the end so that Michael can address and answer some of your big questions. These will be the topics we'll be covering, okay? And so today what we'll be doing is a high-level overview of the Homepage Designer. I do want to stress that today is a beginner session. We actually have an advanced session tomorrow. And so today we'll just be mostly covering how to get in, how to use your Homepage Designer, and explaining some of the concepts. We're going to be editing our top menu, the top homepage menu. We're going to be talking about and explaining some of the different types of widgets, and we're going to get into what a widget is. And then let's just drag in and edit some content. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go to our homepage. So this is our homepage. It intentionally, on purpose, looks like this. I took away, this is a testing site that we have, and I took away as much content as I could. Your website is probably not going to look anything like this, but we have a top menu. We have a middle section that just says our homepage, and we do have a footer at the bottom. So the first thing I want to talk about is I just want to take a look at our homepage. One of the most important things to note about all Clubrunner homepages is that across the board, everything is mobile compatible. I do want to stress that. If you're, it doesn't matter, you know, whether it's a club site or a district site, your homepage is compatible with a mobile phone. What I mean is it will actually restructure and resize itself to fit onto a small phone screen or a smaller tablet screen. So that is something you don't really have to worry about. And it is something you can even preview. We're going to talk about how to get a mobile preview. Another thing with the Clubrunner homepage, this is the metaphor we're going to use today. I want you to think of your Clubrunner homepage as a jigsaw puzzle. So imagine that all these little pieces or sections are jigsaw puzzle pieces. Most of the things you can move around. Now, I said most. You can't take the top menu and put it at the bottom, and you can't necessarily take the footer and put it at the top. But this main section, the middle section, try to think of it as a jigsaw puzzle, and the widgets, which we're going to talk about what widgets are like jigsaw puzzle pieces that we're going to move around as we'd like in this middle section. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to log in to the homepage. Now I've already logged in, so I'm going to click here on this browser tab, and this is me logged in to the administration page. Before we get started, it's very important to note that if you're following along today and you want to edit your homepage, you must be a website administrator, whether that be for a club site or a district site. You have to have administrative or admin level access. This will not work if you don't have the highest level access. You need the highest level website access in order to edit your homepage. Okay, so if you're trying to follow along and anything is grayed out, it just means you don't have that admin access right now. I'm logged in as a website administrator, so we're going to go edit our homepage. I'm going to make this just a little bit bigger so you can hopefully see this a little better. Okay, now we can use the admin screen. I'm just scrolling down the admin screen here. There's several sections. As a website admin, I have basically unrestricted access. I can use any section of the website I want. Instead of the admin screen running down the page, I'm going to use the top blue menu tabs, admin, my Clubrunner, communication. What I want to do is I'm going to click on something, and when you click these blue menu tabs, just a note, that it will not load a page. See, I'm clicking on these tabs, nothing's happening. You have to click the gray bar below the blue menu tab in order to load a page. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on new website beta right here. Actually, I actually missed something. Before I do that, I want to talk about there's website and there's new website beta. Why do we have both? So I'm going to click on website and I'm going to click here on website designer. This is the first gray button. I'm going to click on website designer, and the big thing I'm going to say, and make this just a bit bigger. Okay. The big thing I want to say is I'm actually not going to talk about website designer 3.0 at all. This is our older website designer. It will eventually be retired. Why isn't it gone already? We have a lot of users who kind of know and use the old 3.0 system, so we haven't got rid of it. If you are new to the homepage designer, don't use website designer 3.0. We're going to phase it out eventually. Everything we'll be doing from now on, instead of clicking on website, I'm going to go here and click on new website beta. And then I'm going to click the second gray button, which is called homepage designer. So I'm going to click on that, and it's going to take me here to the homepage designer. So what I want to talk about first is let's just kind of get a little bit familiar about how this works. So we managed to log in today. We managed to log in, and also access the homepage designer. Let's kind of familiarize ourselves with what this is. So this website designer is broken into various sections. You'll know you're editing your homepage because near the top left, it will say design homepage. It doesn't give you the name of a page or, design about us or something. It's design homepage. This is how you know you're designing your homepage. And then there's a go back button to go back to the main menus. In the middle, these are our mobile previews. As I mentioned at the beginning of this webinar, your website is already mobile compatible. So you can actually get a desktop view, a tablet view. This little icon that looks like an iPad is a tablet view, and a phone view or a mobile view. We're going to get there. I'm going to put in some content first. In fact, you know what? I might as well show you. I'm going to click on this little icon that looks like a little phone, and you can see that our website gets rearranged and put into a simulation of what it would look like on a mobile phone. And this is really useful when you want to check and to see how your website is going to look without having to take out your phone and do all that. We have built-in mobile previews, and we might come back to this. Now you can click on any of the the desktop, the tablet, or the phone view, and to get back to editing your homepage, I'm going to click this blue edit button. It's going to take me back, and we're going to edit our homepage. So let's talk about some of the more sections. So this is our mobile previews. On the right side, there's two buttons: View Live Page and Publish. So View Live Page, if you click it, in fact, I'll click it right now, it will load my homepage in a separate browser tab, which is great because there's two main views. The editor view is right here. I'm going to go back to edit the page in a second. And then this is the live homepage, which everybody is seeing. Okay, well, I should say, when I mean everybody, it's public on the internet. So if someone is navigating to your homepage, this is what they're going to see. Okay, so this is the live homepage. I'm actually going to close this browser tab, and it's going to take me back into the editor view. So I'm back to designing my homepage. Okay, so let's kind of talk about this. There's three gray main buttons up at the top: content, themes, and layouts. The content section, you're seeing it right now. The content is essentially widgets. Now let's kind of dig into that term a little bit. What is a widget? A widget is a little grouping of website data or associated website data. And remember, we talked about a widget being one single puzzle piece that's in your jigsaw puzzle of your homepage. There's all kinds of sections for widgets, which we're going to talk about, but I just want to show you what they are. This is the first section called pre-formatted widgets. We're going to get into what that means. I'm going to click this tiny little triangle to shrink this section so you can see that there's lots more widget sections. All right, we're going to get into what all these categories mean. But the content section houses or stores all your widgets. And your widgets are like the building blocks of your website. You're going to have, just as an example, and we'll get into that, a club information widget, a stories widget, an events widget, all those little different groupings or sections. Each one is a little widget, and we're gonna talk more about it. I'm going to click here on the middle button called themes. So what is a theme? This is our metaphor, and you have to, I know there's a couple of metaphors today, but the metaphor for themes is you are changing your shirt. And I'm trying to be non-technical here. That's kind of what a theme is. It's the color scheme and fonts of your website. When you change your shirt, you don't change who you are, you're just changing the appearance, the outward appearance. That's what a theme does. It just changes the outward appearance. When you change a theme, it does not change one bit of your website content. If you have 3 stories and a contact us button, that will never change as you navigate through changing themes. So that's what the theme is like. It's like, I don't know, going to the other room and just putting on a different t-shirt or a different shirt, okay? We have various themes. Within each theme, for example, cloud or community or elegant, within each of these themes are different color options. The large rectangle represents the major primary color scheme of that theme. The little tiny squares represent color variations. Let's take a look at this. So right now, I'm going to click on Cloud Next Gen banner. Okay, I'm just going to change the theme. All right, and you can see all of a sudden I have this banner which I didn't have before. That's because this theme called Cloud has a banner in it, and some of our themes have built-in top banner and some do not. There's no right or wrong answer with a theme. It's what your preference is. If you like these banners, choose a theme that says banner in the title. Okay. And you can see that my, now it's a little hard to tell because I really don't have much content, but you know, it changed the font a little bit, it changed the layout. Now, when I click on a smaller button, this little reddish pinkish button, if I click that, you can see the color changes as well. So that's what you can do with these themes is you can kind of change the look of your website very quickly. Is literally just one button click. For example, if you're like, I don't like this, I'm not a fan of this color scheme or the way this looks, then what I'll do is I'll scroll down to, I don't know, let's go mid-century. If this, I know it's a little hard to see, but we can kind of get into our more rotary-centric color scheme. I chose mid-century and I chose this color scheme. You'll know what theme you currently have because there's a blue box around it and then a little tiny blue box if you chose a color variation. Before you begin to sample all your themes, you can sample every theme and every color scheme you'd like. Before you do that, just make a note of the current theme you have. Because if you start going in here and you start changing your themes and you're like, I don't know what I had initially, I actually don't remember. It's a good idea to know what you're starting with so you can always come back. I'm using mid-century and I'm using the middle color variation. That way, if I click on anything, it doesn't matter where I go, I'm going to change my theme very quickly to some other thing and it's not going to look the same. I know that I can go back to, I'm going to scroll down to mid-century and I can always go back to my original theme. Okay, so you know what, this theme is okay, but I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to try vision. And actually, I'll just try the main theme here. I'll just try the vision theme. And I kind of like that. I'm going to stick with that. And like I said, a theme is very simple to change. I want to talk about layouts. So what the difference between themes and layouts, the themes is just changing the visual appearance, the color schemes, the fonts. The layouts is changing how your website is arranged or organized. Do you want a 1-column, 2-column, or 3-column website. You have the choice of all three, including all these variations. I'm gonna make my screen just a touch bigger because it's a little hard. Okay, that's too big. It's a little hard to read this. I'm gonna make it just a bit bigger so you can see there's all kinds of different layouts. And the way that these layouts work is all these boxes correspond to what kind of column structure you're going to have. The first theme is full width top banner above right sidebar. I'm not going to read all these titles. They're a little bit long, but what they do is they describe how the theme looks or appears or is organized. There's a full width bar in the top band, and that's above a right sidebar, meaning below this full width bar is a right sidebar. Now see, it says active. That's actually great because I can actually show you this layout in action. So full width top band, what that means is this is a full width column right here, okay? And you'll know it's full width because it touches the edges of the square. This is close to a full width, but it's not really full width. See how there's a little bit of white space on each side? And then this is my right sidebar, meaning this is a section where I have a narrow right column and a wider left column. And then as I scroll down, there's another section below it. So I have this layout as an option. Now, because I basically don't have any content, I can choose whatever layout I'd like. Once again, before you do this, I'd like to stress, figure out what your layout is starting first. Like I'm starting off with the top one. It's easy to remember for me because this is the layout I have. As you start experimenting with all these layouts, it's really handy to know, well, I was at full width top band. So as I choose, I'm going to choose a different layout. I'm going to choose this one. I'm going to choose full width, top, middle, and bottom. What that lets me do is it actually gives me 3 little columns in the middle of my page. And, oh, sorry, it's just thinking here. And so what's happening is I got a full width. I have sort of not a full width. I'm back to a full width because you can see it's touching the edges of my website right here. I have 3 columns and so on and so forth. So there's all kinds of variations on layouts. And what this lets you do is it lets you kind of envision, well, I really like having, for example, a right and left column, and I want my right column to be narrow and my left column to be wide, or vice versa. Remember, with some of this aesthetic stuff, there's no wrong answer. It's just what you or your club would prefer. So, please do check out all the different layouts. I'm going to go back to the layout I had, which is full width top band, right? Because it's important. Make a note of what you have and then start experimenting and clicking on all the other buttons. Okay, so that's what these 3 buttons do. On the left side, this, and you can actually see it as we've been going along. This is a live updating preview of your homepage. This is really handy for a couple things. First, you can actually see what you're doing inside the designer, which is really handy. Secondly, because you're getting a live preview, and by you, I mean the website administrator who's logged in to design homepage, right? You can see what's happening before it goes live to the homepage. So you can essentially sample some things. As long as you do not click the publish button, you can make certain changes, and people who are live on your homepage, they can't see it. So you can do it invisibly in the background. This does not apply to everything. As an example, we're going to get into editing the top menu. Sometimes there's certain changes that will go live. So just be a little bit aware of that. But for the most part, if you make changes to your homepage, if you don't click publish, the actual public website won't actually update. You can use that to your advantage. In other words, you can work in the background invisibly. Okay, so this whole website preview pane right here, this entire left side, I can edit an element by hovering over it. For example, this is our club logo. I can edit it. I can edit my navigation, this little box that says our homepage. these empty squares, the drop here, they represent drop zones. In other words, areas that don't yet have content. It's okay for a section to just be empty. No website visitor is going to see the words drop here, right? These little dashed boxes, that this is for you, the website admin, so that you know what sections you have to play with. But no website visitor will see these. Here's 4 drop here boxes. Let me show you what a website visitor will see. I'm going to scroll up. I'm going to go to my desktop view right here. I'm going to click on it's a little icon that looks like an iMac. And you can see there's no drop here boxes. It's just empty space, right? Don't worry about those drop here boxes. In fact, you can leave if you don't want this bottom, if you don't want to use this bottom drop here box, no problem. You can just leave it empty. So think of these as sections of your jigsaw puzzle, okay? And if I scroll down, there's my footer. I can hover over it and we can edit the footer. I'm going to start top down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll up. I'm going to hover over my top menu. I'm going to click this button called Edit Navigation, okay? And what this is this is our top homepage menu. And as I scroll down, you can see it's organized into folders. And I want to talk about folders versus links. Now, there's a fair bit of folders and a lot of links. And the thing is it's a little hard to see because there's so much stuff. So what I'm going to click on is I'm just going to scroll down here. I'm going to click this little blue button that says collapse all. When I collapse everything, it shrinks all the menus down. And that way I can expand an individual menu so that if I want to look at just about us, I can just expand that. So that works much better for me. As I come in here, I click collapse all, and now it's a little easier for me to just concentrate on the section that I want to. So I'm going to click on About Us. Here's how the menu structure works. You could have links within folders, or you can just have plain links. So a link is something that will take you somewhere. It will take you to maybe somewhere on your homepage or Rotary.org or wherever, it doesn't matter, Google, CNN, it's a link to somewhere other than your homepage. A folder is a way to organize or give structure to those links. These, These 5 links, they all pertain to About Us. And so they all get stored in this About Us folder, right? And then these 2 links, they are related to Rotary. So they get put in a folder called Rotary. So you can not only have links inside folders, you can have folders inside folders, and you can start really organizing things that way. Now, I will warn you, it gets a little tricky, so we're going to take this slow. Let's create a folder first and then a link, and I'm going to show you how this works. I'm going to click here on this orange Add New Menu item. I'm going to call this, I'll just call this folder 1, okay? And I'm going to leave it as a folder. Actually, you know what? Here, I'll call it Mickey's folder, okay? So you know that it's me. And I'm going to leave it as a folder. The way that this works, when you add something to your homepage menu item, you have 3 options. The menu title is arbitrary. You can call it anything. You can call it like 1, 2, 3. It doesn't matter, right? So you name this item something. You give it a name. The tool tip, when your website visitor hovers their mouse over a menu item, a pop-up will appear. And that's what the tooltip is. It's a pop-up, right? So it's optional. You don't need a tooltip, but if you want to put one in, you can. And then the link type by default is folder. That's the first thing. But if I click on it, you'll see I have all these other options, which I'm not going to talk about just this. I'm going to talk about about maybe 10, 15 seconds, but I just want to move away from that. I'm going to leave it as a folder. I'm going to call it Mickey's folder, and I'm going to click save. Okay. And what I did, now it's a little hard to see because where's my folder, right? It's at the bottom. So if I scroll down, there's my folder. What I want to do is I want to take this, I want to put it into About Us. Now to do that, it's a little tricky with all these folders open, but we now know our collapse all little trick. I'm going to click collapse all. And then here's how to move an item. If I hover my mouse over this item, I can't move it. You know, I'm trying to click on it, I'll click the yellow, it won't go anywhere. You have to use these three little dots to the left of every item. These are called grab points. And what you'll see if I move my mouse over it, see how it changes into a four-way arrow, a little cross. Now I can move my item around. If I don't click on that, I can't move the item. I'm going to hover over the three dots. I'm going to left click and hold with my mouse. I'm going to slowly drag it up. And remember how I said I can go like this. See how there's a line? It's a little hard to tell. I'll try going like this. There's a line and a red square. The line means put it on its own separate line. See how now I have Mickey's folder just it's just above about us, and I'm sorry, just below about us, just above get involved. So that's what I can do is I can hover and I can push it onto its own separate line. Or I can take Mickey's folder, and here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to move it on top of about us, and do you see how it becomes a red box? I'm actually going to let go. I've been left clicking my mouse. I'm going to let go and see how Mickey's folder is now inside about us. I'm gonna collapse all again, and Mickey's folder disappears because it's here. And now I'm creating a folder structure hierarchy. That's just a fancy way of saying you can have links and you can have folders, and you can have folders inside folders with additional links. This may sound a bit complicated. It's really not that bad. You just have to imagine organizing all these links. This is incredibly useful for district sites. Club sites tend to have a good amount of links. District sites absolutely have tons of links, tons of content. So you'll notice a lot of district sites will do something like this. They'll have folders within folders just because there's a lot of links. And if we didn't organize everything into these folder items, you basically just have a gigantic gigantic menu at the top listing all these items individually. So the folder structure is really powerful that way. I'm going to click the little triangle here, and on Mickey's folder now, I want to put an item into Mickey's folder. I can click the add new menu item button, but it'll just put that new link at the bottom. I want to put something inside Mickey's folder. I want to have a link to something. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click this blue add menu item that's beside the folder. What this allows me to do is it allows me to put an item directly inside that folder. So the menu title, I'm going to call it Mickey's link. Okay. And tooltip, when the user hovers over it, I'll just put hover action, because when you hover over the item, you'll see the word hover action, and you can call, or you know what, how about help text, right? You can put anything you want here to help the user. So I'll just call this help text. You'll see what it looks like. Okay, the link type is important. We no longer want folder. Now there's all kinds of different things or items to link to. Built-in page. Okay, if I click on this, what this is, then a new fourth menu appears. I click on home. These are all the pre-built pages inside Clubrunner. There is a website search. There's a photo albums page, a bulletin list. All these pages, club executives, these are all built, pre-built inside Clubrunner, meaning you don't have to ever edit these pages. They're already built for you. I'm going to show you an example. I'm going to click here on, let's do contact us. Okay. And I'm actually just going to change Mickey's link to contact us because that's more descriptive than Mickey's link. All right. I'm going to leave help text because just so you can see what it's going to look like. But I'm going to link to the built-in page called contact us. And you'll know that I didn't type this page or create this page. It's auto-generated. Now that was just one category of link type. There's several more, such as custom page. Custom URL means you can put in any URL you want, google.com or CNN or rotary.org or whatever. And then you can link to internal documents and so on and so forth. So please do explore the various link types. I'm going to stick today with built-in page and contact us, and we're going to see what this looks like. I'm not going to choose open in a new window. You can check the box, but I'm not going to do that. It's recommended only to open in a new window if you are linking to something outside your website. So if I'm linking internally, if I'm linking to I'm on my club site, I'm linking to a club event, I don't want that popping open in a new window. I want it to stay in that same browser tab. So I'm not going to choose this, okay? I'm going to click save. You can see how this looks. So here's about us, here's my folder, and here's a contact us link. And we're going to see what this looks like. Now, I'm going to show you what publish does and does not do. So I just added Mickey's folder in about us, and it has a link contact us. Now I have my live website open on this tab. I'm going to click here. This is my tab. Here's about us. Okay, well, you know what? I didn't refresh, so I'll refresh my home page. And it only takes a second to refresh because there's barely any content on here. Where is Mickey's folder? So this is where that publish button comes into play. If I hover over about us, you don't see the folder that I created, right? So I'm going to go here. I'm going to click publish, which I didn't do. I'm going to do it now. I'm going to click publish. It says, are you sure? Because this little pop-up prompt that says, are you sure? It warns you. You do this, it takes less than a second and it'll go live to your site. So I'm going to click OK. And that's it. It's published. The menu has been published. It's done. It takes less than a second. Okay. I'm going to go back to my home page here. Now about us doesn't show up. So I'm going to click my little refresh button right here. I have to refresh the home page. It only takes a second because there's barely any content. There is Mickey's folder. Here's contact us. If I click, but before I click on this, you can kind of see how the menu structure works. And you may or may not like this. Like I said, there's not always a right answer here. This is aesthetics. A lot of districts, they actually can't get by without these kind of folder structures because they need to put, they need the ability to categorize things like this, right? Have a folder within a folder. So I'm going to click on contact us and you can see it takes me to this contact us page. I did not build this page. It's pre-built for you. That's what those built-in pages are for. So we're starting to get there. I created my first little bit of content. I edited the top menu navigation. Let's keep going. I'm going to go back to the designer. Okay. Now we kind of know how the menu navigation works. So I'm going to click the go back button right here. Okay. And then now I kind of promised you I'd talk about widgets. So this is the menu navigation. That's kind of its own special little section, which we kind of talked about. I want to talk about the widget section. Now, one thing I want to let you know is that maybe you're thinking, you know what, this is a little cramped on this side. I want to make this a little bit wider. You can change the layout of the designer. See these little three dots? Remember, I use the term grab points. I'm going to left click with my mouse. I'm going to expand it just a little bit. And you can see I'm giving myself a little bit more space. Now, what's happening here is I'm actually zoomed in, like I made this web page a little bit bigger. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make my web page a little bit smaller. And you can see that the text got a little bit smaller, but now I can see more on the screen. I'm going to take my grab point. I'm going to go in this direction. And if I keep going, see how I get 2 squares instead of 3? It's up to you how you want to arrange this. I'm going to have 3 squares, okay? Because I like having it arranged like this. This is just a preference of mine. Okay, so these are all the widget categories. The first category is pre-formatted. Let's take a look at all of them. The widgets are organized in what we call an accordion menu. What an accordion menu is, it's like an accordion. It expands and it shrinks. Right now, this pre-formatted section is expanded. Let's shrink it. So I'm going to click the little triangle and see how now I can easily see all the other sections. And then I'll expand essentials, or I'll expand carousels, and so on and so forth. I'm not going to talk about every widget, just for the sake of time. I am going to talk about the categories. The first category is pre-formatted widgets. These are pre-built or pre-formatted or pre-made widgets in a certain layout. I'm going to take call to action as an example. There's several. If I scroll down, you can see there's all these different types of pre-formatted widgets, double, triple column, text only. I'm going to take this call to action so I'll kind of show you how this works. Here's how to put something onto your homepage. You take something, you take content from the right side and you drag it into the left side into a drop here section. Let's take call to action. It's the third widget. I'm going to left click and hold with my mouse. And as I drag, the left side is getting prepared and saying, okay, where do you want to put it? You want to put it here? Great, great. If I miss, in other words, see how there's a green drop here box? If I don't put it into a green drop here box I missed, then it just goes back to where it was. You must put a widget into a drop here section or it will not place on the left side. Okay, so I'm going to take this, I'm going to put it, let's put it here in this section so you can see what this looks like. I'm going to let go. And what happens is I've just now placed my first widget. So you can see how this is pre-built for me. There's a little place to type a header, 3 little buttons that say click me. I did not generate any of this. Now I can edit this. So for an example, I can highlight this and I can say 3 options, and then I'm typing within the editor, which is a really useful feature because I'm not leaving the editor as I do this. I'm going to hover over the first button. See, I don't know if you can make it out. It's a little tiny gear icon. I'm going to click it and it says, okay, well, give me the details. How do you want this button to look? So I'm just going to call this first button and it's a link type. The link type, once again, remember, there's all these different ways you can link to all these different areas in Clubrunner. Let's link to, I don't know, let's link to an event. So I'm going to link to this. I'm going to click here and we have a fish fry coming up on May 27th. Why not link to it, right? That's one of our club events. What is the link style? How is this button going to look? Is it a primary or secondary? Let's make it primary. Remember, this is an event inside our club site. I'm not going to choose open link in new window. I'm going to click save, and we've now created our first button. And you'll notice that because I chose primary, it's blue. The other 2 buttons are secondary, so they are white. Okay, so I'm going to do this just a little bit quicker. Just I want to move on, but let's just, I'm going to do a second button. Okay. And this is, I'm going to leave it as, you know what, I'll call it Google because it is going to be Google. Like I'm not going to change this. I'm going to leave it as a secondary button. I'm going to leave all the other options alone and I'll click save. And you can see there's my second button. And then I'm going to hover over click me and I'm going to make my third button. Okay. And this I will make, let's see, I'm going to navigate to a custom page. Today, we may not get to exactly what a custom page is, but I want to navigate. A custom page is basically all your secondary pages or a lot of your secondary pages. So I'm going to go to the custom page called Become a Member, just because. And then the link style will also be primary. And because it's our website, right? I'm not going to open a new window. I'm going to click save. And you can see how this looks. You may or may not like this. The second button is white. You may not like that. You can hover over it and make it a primary button, but I just want to show you all these options. Now, this is me learning in the last, I'm still not, 100%, I haven't wrapped my head around all of this and we haven't covered everything yet, but as you can see, there's a lot of options and flexibility in creating web pages in Clubrunner. I did not design this. I did not do any code. This was made for me. I'm just hovering over this and clicking on a section and changing it on the fly. You can do that with a lot of the other pre-formatted widgets. Just as an example, I'm going to take this. I won't actually do anything with it, but I'm going to drag single button here and see how it just creates that single button. Remember, no coding or anything like that. And you kind of know how this works now, so I can hover over it and edit it. Now, I'm going to remove this single button. So I'm going to hover over, I'm going to click the X icon. X is not delete. What I mean is, if I click X, I don't get rid of it forever. It gets stored back here in the content section. So if I hover over this and click the X, right, it goes away, but it's actually stored here. Right? If I scroll down a little bit, there is a single, there's a, I can take single button, okay, and I can bring it back. So I'm going to take this and I can bring it back, okay? So X is not necessarily delete, it just means remove. Okay, I spent a little bit too much time on pre-formatted widgets. There's a lot of them. Please do experiment. They're actually great for when you don't want to do any coding or do any customization. You just want something pre-made that you can edit, very quickly. I'm going to shrink pre-formatted. Let's talk about essentials. Essentials are the types of widgets that are primarily found on a lot of home pages. That's not to say you have to use all of these essential widgets, but an example of an essential widget is stories. And I definitely want to bring in the stories widget. So I'm going to hover over the homepage stories widget, which is right here. Okay. I'm going to left click and hold with my mouse. I'm going to drag it and I'm going to put it below 3 options. See how I'm on top of my 3 options button? I'm going to just move my mouse down just a little bit and now it's at the bottom. So just a tiny little inch or two, a couple little millimeters, it makes a difference. So just be wary of how you move these widgets around. If you're kind of like, oops, oh, and you'll miss. So just be a little wary of that. And I'm going to just put it here. I'm going to let go. And here's my stories. Now, the stories widget, the way that it works is if there are stories that previous people have generated, a lot of times, people write stories like members of your club will pre-populate the stories widget and it'll actually bring in the stories, whatever stories it can find. You can choose how the stories widget and in fact, how most widgets behave and look. So the stories widget looks like this. It's got 3 stories and it's just running down the screen. And that's fine. I don't mind that at all. If I hover over most widgets, you will see a little gear icon. These are the properties of a widget. So let's kind of just talk about that very briefly. I'm going to click on the little gear icon. Okay. And this is the properties for my stories widget. And it was renamed from stories to club news items, and that's fine. You can rename it anything you like. The properties pop up for most of your widgets. They're slightly different. They're not all exactly the same. Certain widgets will have certain properties. The stories widget property is fairly expansive. It's got a lot of items. I'm going to scroll down, and what I'm looking for is layout. Okay, I can choose the layout of how my stories look. Let me show you. Right now, I have a regular layout. What that means is my stories widget, right, which is populated with website stories. You can think of stories, once again, metaphors. You can think of them as blog posts, right? A lot of clubs, they write their stories about whatever, an event or something that happened. And, and then stories get dated and, so right now, the layout of my story is regular. If I click on this, I've got more than one option to have a layout for my stories. I'm kind of interested to see what scrollable looks like. So I'm going to click scrollable and I'm going to click save. Okay. And now my stories look a little bit different. They now scroll a little bit. In other words, this little arrow will move ahead to the next story. Kind of interested in this view. I want to see what it looks like. I'm going to leave that option alone. Okay. And the way that you get into all of your widgets properties, remember, hover over the section, click the gear icon, and it will bring up the properties. Okay. And this goes for pretty much all your widgets. They have all these various properties. Like I said, I'm curious to see how this will look. If I don't like it, I can always change it back. Okay, my website is slowly starting to get together or come together, I mean. So I'm not sure if I like this. Our homepage is very generic. I don't like that at all. So I'm going to hover. I'm going to click the pencil icon. Okay, now I can edit text usually inline. What I mean by the word inline is I can actually edit this text without leaving this designer screen. It's not true all the time. If I hover over my stories widget, I can't edit the text of a story within this designer. However, if I hover over this, it looks like a square with an arrow. This will edit the individual widget. And once again, you won't see this for all the widgets. This square with an arrow, it's not in pre-formatted widgets because you edit a pre-formatted widget inline within the editor. But if you hover over your story and a stories widget, I'm sorry, and click the square with an arrow, it takes me to a screen where I can look at the individual stories and I can edit my individual stories. Okay, I'm going to click the go back button. I'm going to hover over our homepage and I'm just going to change this to welcome to our club. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight it. It's already centered. I'll make it bold and I'll make the size, I don't know, let's make the size 24, for example. Okay. If you're familiar with Microsoft Word, you're probably sort of familiar with this kind of gray layout. All these properties are built into the text layout. So hopefully this might be slightly intuitive for you, these gray toolbars. If not, essentially what you do is you highlight the text you want and then you apply whatever formatting you'd like, whether it be bold, italic, you can change the way that text looks by using this gray toolbar right here. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is this. Let's actually talk about. Let's insert an image really quick because I'm looking at the clock and I want to make sure I don't go too much over time. I'm going to hit enter twice and that's going to skip 2 lines. Okay, I want an image right here. So to do that, I'm going to click the gray image button and it's going to bring up my image properties. So what I'm doing right now is I'm adding an image onto my text because I can type text, but I want to have an image too. I'm here on image properties. I'm going to click browse server. It's going to open up my image library. I'm sorry, I know it's a little bit small. Try and make it just a bit bigger so you can see it better. I'm going to click on my images. Okay, these are the images that I've brought into my club site. And I'm just for the sake of time, I'm going to click actually here. Let's scroll down. I'll click on this little iPhone, right? I'm just going to choose any image. Okay, and I'll double click on this image of the man holding an iPhone. It's going to come in and the image right now is 400 pixels wide and 400 pixels tall. I just want to see what that looks like. So I'll click OK. And there's my image of a man holding an iPhone. It's a little big for me. I wouldn't mind shrinking it. So I'm going to double left click over the image. It's going to bring up the image properties again. And I'm going to make this half the size. So I'm going to change 200. And notice that my height changes automatically. Make sure this lock icon, this little tiny thing, is always closed. If it's open, I can mess around with my height. And we'll see how I'm stretching this. You don't want to do that. Close the lock icon and then make your changes, and your height and width will resize in the same scale. I'm going to click OK. That's a little better for me. But as I said, I want to move on. So there's my club and it's got an image of an iPhone. That's actually not terrible. And then what I want to do is I want to talk about some more images. Widgets. On the right side, I'm going to shrink down essentials. So essentials is basically, we talked about how some of the essential widgets, right, that will appear on your page. I'm gonna shrink that. Carousels. Carousels is a homepage carousel. I'm going to pause it there because I don't want to get too deep into this, but and by the way, there'll be some extensive discussion of carousels in our advanced website designer webinar, but I'm just going to leave it for now. If you're looking for a carousel, you can click on this carousel section and you can bring in what's called a dynamic carousel. Maybe I'll leave it at that. The dynamic carousels are found here. If you're not sure what a dynamic carousel is, please do look at our advanced webinar because we will be actually covering that in greater detail. So I'm going to close carousels. I want to talk about links. Links let you have a list of links. They can be links to anything. They can be links to your club events, to outside websites. So it's just a way to kind of put a list of links, okay? And I'm going to shrink this. Now, I know I'm going a little faster here. I'm just looking at the clock, so I want to make sure that I give Michael some time for his Q&A, but that's what the links was. If I click here on events, I'm actually going to use events. So here's what I'm going to do. Events, this section is related to all the widgets that pertain to club events. So I've got a mini calendar, speakers, events, and meeting responsibilities. These all look kind of interesting to me. Here's what I'm going to do. I've got events here. I'm going to just go on the left side. I'm going to scroll with my scroll wheel on my mouse just a little bit. I want to put stuff here in this drop here section. Kind of intrigued by upcoming events. Now, my hands are off the keyboard. I'm only using the mouse. If I take upcoming events and I drag it into this drop here section and I let go, these events fill themselves in. No hands, no keyboard. This is an automated widget, upcoming events. Automated means the widget is either pre-populated or it pulls information from the database. There is no typing for upcoming events. If I hover over this and click the square with an arrow, it takes me to my event section where I can go create events, but I don't physically type this list of events. It gets pulled from the database. So let's say that there's broadly two general types of widgets. Automated, which is upcoming events, examples like events, like speakers and so on, they will fill themselves in automatically. They'll talk to the database and say, hey, what are the next set of upcoming events? Great, I'm going to grab them. I'm going to list them, and it's going to be all done automatically without you typing. And the second type is a manual widget, like the pre-formatted widgets right here. I did this pre-formatted widget with 3 options. It did not come in and automatically to say 3 options with 3 buttons. I had to manually type and do my own input. So we can kind of say that there's 2 types of widgets. There's these automated widgets, which will fill themselves in automatically. And then there's manual types of widgets where you do all the typing, okay? So upcoming events, upcoming events, that works for me. I didn't type any of this. Actually, my event chair in my club, she's the one who's posting all these events to the website. And so now that I have placed upcoming events onto my homepage, I never need to do anything with it again. Here's why. My event chair, she's inputting events. As she inputs new events, the old events and upcoming events will go away. The new ones will automatically update. And that's the beauty of an automated widget, is it'll update itself. So that's something, hopefully that's good to know. I'm going to take this mini calendar because that also sounds interesting to me. I'm going to hover over mini calendar. I'm going to put it on top of upcoming events. I'm going to let go. And this little mini calendar also seems pretty promising. Not only is it a little mini calendar of the month, but some of the dates, I know it's a little hard to see, some of the dates are gray. Why? Because those are the dates of my events. So if I, for example, Friday, May 27th, I know it's very hard to see, there's an event. If I were to click on that little option in Friday, May 27th, it would take me to that event on Friday, May 27th. So once again, I made a little discovery mini calendar. That's going to stay on my site. I actually like that. That's pretty good. All right, so this website is starting to get there. I'm not 100% done. Now, what I want to do is I want to talk about just a few more widget categories. So that was my events. I'm going to shrink it down. Bulletin and PR also looks promising to me. This is related to all your bulletin and social media. For example, I'm going to take the Facebook like button. That sounds kind of interesting. I'm going to take this widget, the Facebook like widget. I'm going to drag it below my upcoming events and let go. And now I've got this handy little, what this does, this little like button, if someone is logged into Facebook, they can like your homepage directly. So you know what, that sounds good to me. I'm going to leave this in. And then, so that's what bulletin and PR, that's the section it's related to. You can list your bulletins, you can do all these things, and as well for social media and stuff like that. I'm gonna shrink down bulletin. I wanna talk about the last two categories. Custom, they're called custom widgets global or page specific. So let's break this down. A custom widget is literally an empty white box. There is nothing inside it. It's not like pre-formatted widgets, which has like a little table or buttons or something pre-populated. A custom widget, you start with nothing. It's literally an empty square. You fill it any way you want. The downside to custom widgets is there's no starting point. You're going to start with it's like having a white piece of paper in your hands. You have to do the rest. The upside to custom widgets is you have enormous flexibility with a pre-formatted widget, right? I'm going to just go back to pre-formatted widgets. We have, for example, here is left image with text right here, okay? In a pre-formatted widget, this can never be right image with text. You can't flip the orientation. You can't take the image on the left side and put it on the right side. It will always stay left side image, right side text. You can't flip it. There is a right image with text. You can use that, but you have to use a brand new widget. So with a custom widget, you can do anything you want. You can put the text on the left side. I don't like it there. I want to put it in the middle, on the right side, on the bottom. You can move everything around. You can have custom code. We're not going to talk about it today, but if you need to insert any kind of special advanced items such as custom code, this is where custom widgets come in. So a custom widget may not, you might start off at 0, but it gives you full flexibility as to the amount of content you can put in here. And then I'm gonna, there's a difference between global and page specific. So a global custom widget or a custom widget global can be reused. I can take a global widget, place it on my home page, and because it's a global widget, I can also place it elsewhere on another secondary page somewhere else on my website. So a global is really handy if you are reusing a certain element. And then a custom widget page specific, it only lives here on this home page. Now, I use it here, I can't use it anywhere else. Both have their place, both have their use, okay? So what I want to do is I just want to place one of these. I'm going to place a global custom widget, meaning if I place it here, I can also place it elsewhere. I can reuse global widgets. I can't reuse page specific. So I'm going to click on custom widget global. When each of these widgets has either a plus sign or a magnifying glass, when that happens, the magnifying glass means this widget has been worked on. It's not new. There's some content in it. I'm going to hover over this custom widget. I'm going to click on this little magnifying glass icon. And you can see there's like a little bit of text and a logo in here. Someone was using this custom widget. So there's actually information in here already. I'm going to close the little preview. That's what the magnifying glass means. It's not a new widget, right? If I drag this in, you'll see it looks like this, right? Oh, let me see if I can get it in there. And I didn't do anything. This was already here. That's what the magnifying glass means. So I'm going to hover over that and close it. I'm going to take the widget with a plus sign. The plus sign means you're making a brand new widget. There's no content in here. So I'm going to drag this in. I'm going to let go. Oops. And this is what I mean by empty box. Now it has some placeholder text, custom widget, type your content here. I'm going to hover over it and I'm going to type something. All right. And then I'm going to remember we can use our little image button. I'm going to click on browse server and I'll put in, I guess I'll just use these waterfalls since they're here. That's way too big. I'm going to make it, I don't know, 300 pixels wide. I'm going to click OK. All right. And here's the nice thing. Remember, custom widget, you know what? I don't like it on the left side. I'm going to double click the image and I'm going to this little option that says align right here, it's not set. Not set means it's left-hand alignment by default. I'm going to click, I'm going to make it right and click OK. And now I can type something else and my image is on the right side. And I can flip this. I can double click and I can make this left. I can't do this in a pre-formatted widget. I have full flexibility in my custom widget. Okay, so that's where the custom widgets come in very useful. I'm going to close this off. I'll leave this. This isn't looking great, but it's more or less an example. Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about, remember, I never really talked about what a carousel was. I'm going to click on the carousel and I'm going to show you, we're not going to go into detail because I see I'm over time, but I want to show you what a carousel looks like. I did that really fast. Let me do that slower. So to do that, what I'm doing is the first thing I like to do is I like to place myself or get myself where I want to be on the page. The carousel is not going to go on the bottom. At least I don't want to put it on the bottom. So I'm scrolling up on the left side to the top of my home page. I want it above welcome to our club. So I'm getting ready to place the carousel here above welcome to our club. And then on the right side, I'm going to click the category called carousels. Now, plus means if I drag in this widget with a plus sign, it's empty. There's no images. I have to create my own carousel. Because I'm out of time, basically, I'm going to choose 2022 homepage carousel. It's this one right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this in. And I just want you to see what a nice looking carousel looks like. This is pre-made, by the way. This has already been made. And here's our homepage. It's not, perfect, but it is the content. Hopefully, is easily editable, and we need to use that jigsaw puzzle metaphor. See these three options? I don't like it here. I'll move it here. I'm going to put it there. Okay, I'll leave it there. Club calendar, I'm going to move it here. You know what? I don't like it there, so I'm going to move it back. So that's what I mean is every element or every widget is a puzzle piece you can move around up, down, left, right. Explore, definitely experiment with your homepage. You have a lot of flexibility in Club Runner to try out different things. And now that we've done this, I'm going to just click here. Let's take a look at my desktop view. And there's how the website will look like on a desktop. It's not the greatest, but it is a good start. And then what does it look like on a tablet? It kind of looks like this, right? So you can see how this works. Notice how the buttons are stacked on top of each other because we have less real estate on a tablet than on a desktop. And then finally, what does it look like on a phone? If I click here, this is my mobile preview, right? So everything is much narrower because the phone screen is much smaller. Okay, I'm going to click on edit. Let's go to my homepage right here. Okay, I'm going to click on purple. I'm going to click here on the home. This will take me to the home. Oh, interesting. So nothing has updated yet. I did all these changes, right? But nothing is showing up live. So let me click refresh. Okay, nothing happened. And this is where I'm going to end with. Just remember, if you don't click this orange publish button right here, your changes will not always go live. So remember to click publish. It's done. It takes less than a second. It's already published. So I clicked on publish, and now I'm going to click on view live page. And here is my updated homepage. Not perfect by any means, but functional and now ready for me to edit. And you can see my little club calendar. I can click on these little gray buttons. It takes me to the events, or I can click here to scroll through my stories. And so there's all these little interesting little possibilities now that I can keep playing with. And I do hope if you've made it this far that you will absolutely check out our advanced webinar, website designer webinar tomorrow. That is a great spot for me to stop. I'm very sorry for going so much over time. I want to make sure that Michael has some Q&A. I'm going to hand everything over to Michael right now. And thank you.
Thank you very much, Mickey, for handing it over. All of that information that you gave us today was definitely really, really helpful. And I hope everyone that is attending the webinar today was able to take a lot of great information away from that. Now, with all of that said, there are a couple of questions that our team on the as a support team, we receive a lot of questions about. So I wanted to follow up with Mickey's webinar just with some more information about these questions that we often get. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to steal the screen share from you, Mickey. I hope you don't mind. So I'm going to take that from you right over here. Let's see. So you guys should now be able to see my own screen instead of Mickey's here. Now, one of the things we do get questions about quite a bit is this little navigation menu. Or not in the navigation menu, you have a nice little logo in the top left corner. We are currently in the live designer, but if we go over to our homepage, let me actually refresh so we can see all those nice changes Mickey made. If you take a look in the top left corner of our navigation menu, you see this nice little logo that's here. A really big question that we often get is how you can go through and how you can update this logo to something that you want it to be displayed there. Now, just like pretty much everything else in the website Live Designer, once you're in the designer itself, you can generally go and you can click on something in order to get access to where you need to edit it, whether it be a widget that's on the Live Designer and you can edit it directly within there, or if you click on it, it'll bring you to a separate page that you will need to use instead. Now, this is very similar for the logo that we have. So in this case, let's go ahead and we can go back to our homepage designer. And as I mentioned before, we can hover our mouse cursor over everything and we can click on it to edit whatever we would like. So it works exactly the same thing, or same way for that logo. If we hover our mouse cursor over the logo in that top left corner, and we go ahead and click on this edit logo button, it will go ahead and bring us to a new page where we can see we are now on the update menu logo page, where we have a couple of different options that we can select. So on the page, you'll see we have the option to upload a light menu logo, a dark menu logo, and we can also change some logo text that will appear alongside of the logo on certain themes. Currently, you'll see that this error message, or this not error message, but this warning message that indicates that the logo text is not used in the theme that we currently have selected. So we are unable to enter in this text. But if we were using a supported theme, we'd be able to go in and we can update this so that it includes whatever additional text we want to include. Now, if you want to upload your logo, all you have to do is hover your mouse cursor over either the light menu logo or the dark menu logo. Click on the edit image icon that's here. And what this will do is it'll open up your navigation menu, for example, for your own computer. And you'll be able to go through and you can upload an image that is on your local device. So for example, I have this theme here for the new Rotary theme for the 2022 and the 2023 Rotary year. If we go ahead and we click on this image and we go ahead and click open, you'll see that that image has now been uploaded to our dark menu logo section because that's the one that we selected. Now, you might ask, what's the difference between the light menu logo and the dark menu logo? Now, these are two different sections that you can upload a logo into that will be displayed depending on which theme that you're using for your website. Now, if we go back over to the homepage, you'll notice that the navigation menu that we currently have is a lighter color. So in this case, since it is a lighter color, the light menu logo is what's being displayed here. If we were to go back and update our theme to a darker to a different color scheme that uses a darker menu logo, the dark logo that we just uploaded is what's going to be used instead. So we've gone through and we've updated the logo itself. Now, just like everything else that we worked on today, it's not going to be made live on your website until you actually publish it. Actually, you know what? Just let me show you this off to you really quickly. Let me go ahead and update the light menu logo as well, really quickly. So we'll make them both this Imagine Rotary theme logo, just for the sake of this example, so you can see it update. Now, let's go ahead and we're going to publish our menu so that this logo changes that we just made is going to appear on the website. So we're going to click Publish Menu. We're going to get the confirmation message. Are you sure you want to publish them and make changes? Yes, we do want to publish them in this case. So we'll click OK. And then we'll get the confirmation message, menu has been published, to indicate that the publishing that we just did was successful. Now, if we go back to our homepage menu, we can go ahead and refresh our page. And you can see that that logo has now been updated to the logo that we had just changed it to. Great. So that's how you can go through and you can update the logo in your navigation menu. Now, one of the other really popular questions that we get is how you can go about and create like secondary pages of your website. Mickey had gone through and he had shown you how you can create the actual homepage for your website, or the landing page that people will see when they access or when they visit your website URL to get access to the website itself. And he had also shown you how you could edit the navigation menu to include some of the built-in pages that Clubrunner provides, like that Contact Us page. But what if you wanted to go through and you want to create your own pages, for example, that have the content that you want to specify and you want to put together yourself? In that case, we can create what's called a custom page. Now, these function very, very similarly to the homepage navigator, like the homepage live designer that we use, and it pretty much works exactly the same. But it'll allow you to go through and it'll create a secondary page that you can link on in your navigation menu, or as just a regular link in one of the widgets of your homepage to direct users to that custom page that we've just created. In order to do that, we're going to go ahead and we're going to go back into our member area. So we are already here. And then what we can do is this top blue navigation menu, we're going to go ahead and click on New Website Beta, just like we did to get access to the Homepage Designer. But instead of clicking Homepage Designer this time, we're going to go ahead and click Custom Page Library. This will bring us to the library of our custom pages. So you can see we have a number of custom pages that have already been created for our club. There are quite a few here, so you can take a look at the various different page previews that we have showing up, just to get you a quick understanding of what pages you already have created. For your own club, you might not have this many, just because you haven't gone through and created them quite yet. But as you create more and more, you'll be able to see them all displayed on this page. So in order to create a new page, we're going to go ahead and click on the Create New Page button in the top right corner. This will allow us to then select a template for our custom page, which are a bunch of essentially pre-created pages that already have some basic content on them in a specific format that you can use to get started right away. So you can select one of these templates that we already have available for you, including some of these simpler ones down at the bottom. But if you wanted to start from absolute scratch, you can go down to the very bottom and select this blank template down here at the bottom. Now, in order to select them, all we have to do is click on it and it'll highlight it in blue and give you the nice selected message to indicate which one you have actually clicked on, which one you're going to be proceeding with. And once you've selected the one that you want to use, you can go ahead and click on the next button. And this will take that template that we just created, and it will bring us right into the website live designer. And this will allow us to start customizing that custom page that we've just created. So we can go through just like how the pages works for the homepage. we have the preview of the page itself on the left-hand side. And then on the right-hand side, we also have access to all of our widgets and our page layouts, as well as some additional properties of the page, like the page title, the page tab title, which was what will appear in the top little browser tabs that we have that you can select between while you're navigating around the internet. And you can also choose to whether you want to limit these custom pages to members of the public, so just about anyone that visits your website, or if you want to limit it to only individuals that can log in or members of the club. So you can go ahead and you can customize the way these custom pages are set up. But otherwise, they function pretty much exactly the same as it does within the homepage designer. You can go through and we can select our layout here. So we'll select this full width top band above right sidebar. And you can see we have a bunch of these drop here sections that are listed. And then we can go through and we can drag in our pre-formatted widgets. We also have access to our essentials widgets that are here. But you may have noticed that we have a new category, which is the 4-page widgets, which are new widgets that you'll have access to that are specific to this page. You won't be able to use these widgets on any other page. And these will be entirely customizable for this individual custom page that we've created. So you'll still have access to this page stories widget, for example, if you create another custom widget, but the exact content that's included within it will only be specific for the page that you create. So we can go through just like the regular homepage designer, and we can click and drag that widget wherever we want it to appear. So we can drop it into one of the drop here sections. And as Mickey said, you'll see which one you'll be dropping it into by taking a look at which one highlighted in green. So let's go ahead and drop it into this main section here. And now by default, for a lot of these widgets that you'll see, you'll notice that it just gives you a little section with a bunch of lines and the name of the widget that's there. Whenever you see that, go ahead and click on the edit widget icon. And that will allow you to go in and you can select specific content that you want to display within it. So in this case, this is the stories widget. So it's brought us to the story, to a page where we can start selecting stories from the story library to include. So if we were to go ahead and click on this add stories from the story library button, this will allow us to then select a bunch of the stories our club has already created. So let's go ahead and select a few here. And just by clicking on the checkboxes to the left, and then you can go ahead and click on add selected stories. And you can see that these have now been added in. And now if we click go back to the custom page designer, you'll see that the stories widget has now been filled out with the information that we have selected. Now, you may have noticed for this specific widget, we selected 3 stories to appear, but we are only seeing 1 right now. So we can adjust that by clicking on the gear icon in the top right corner to access the properties as Mickey showed off earlier. And then we can scroll down to the bottom of the page, where we can then select items to display property. So we can then change it to however many we want. We'll set it to 5, but we've only set it to show 3 stories or we've only selected 3 stories to display. So you'll only see those 3 stories that we've created. So that's how you can go through and create custom pages. You'll be able to access all of the pretty much exact same widgets, and it works exactly the same as Mickey had gone over for the homepage. Now, there is one final question that I do want to talk about, and that is it's in regards to the custom widgets that we have here. Now, you might have noticed that we have on this test account that we have quite a bit that are here already, and it can be a little bit confusing once you have a large number of them created. Especially in this case, we have a bunch that just say custom widget, and that doesn't, since they're all titled the same, it can be confusing as to which one you're dragging in. And of course, you can use these magnifying glasses, as Mickey showed off earlier, to preview exactly what the content's in there. But that's not necessarily a perfect solution. So what you can do is you can, if for any of these widgets that you don't need, you can go through and you can delete them, or you can edit the properties of them to make sure that you can retitle them however you want. So in order to delete these widgets or rename them for that example, we're going to go back to our home or our club's member area, club or district, I should say. And in the top blue navigation menu, this time we're going to go ahead and we're going to click on the website tab instead of the website beta. And then we can go ahead and go to the website content tab in the secondary navigation menu, which is the gray one right below. And once we click on website content, sorry, you'll be prompted with this page where we have 3 different sections that we can click on. There's homepage stories, homepage download files, and then the third one here is homepage custom widgets, which is the one that we want today. So we're going to go ahead and click on homepage custom widgets. And this will allow us to go through and it'll allow us to take a look at some of these widgets that we have here. So if we click on the actions drop-down menu, we can preview the widget. This one doesn't really have any content in it right now. Or we can go ahead and click edit to go in and edit the content that's in that widget. So we can change the title here. We can change whatever content shows within it. And then if we go back one more time, we can also choose to delete that widget as well. So if we go ahead and click delete, we'll get a nice little confirmation message asking us whether we want to, if we want to continue with deleting this widget. If we are sure, click OK. And then you'll get a nice confirmation message indicating that it has now been deleted. If in this case, you'll see we have quite a bit. So you can also go through and you can bulk delete these by selecting the checkboxes for the individual widgets we want to delete, scrolling down to the bottom of the page, and then clicking on the remove selected button down here. Again, you'll get a nice confirmation message just to be sure, just asking if you are sure you want to delete them. And then you can go ahead and click OK to confirm. And with that, all those widgets that we just selected have now been deleted. But what if those widgets that we just deleted, we didn't actually want to delete them and we had included one that we wanted to keep accidentally? In that case, we can go ahead and in this tab here, we have the published, drafts, and deleted tabs. If we click the deleted tabs option here, it'll give us a list of all of the widgets that we have deleted before. And we can go ahead and restore these if we would like to. So we can go ahead and do this through the actions menu. And we can either choose to restore it as a published widget or a draft widget if we so choose. And we also do the same thing by selecting them, using the checkboxes, and then using the restore buttons down at the bottom of the list as well. Now, that's pretty much all of the questions that I did want to go over today for our webinar. I know we ran a little bit over time, so that will be it for today. So I did want to thank all of you for joining us in this webinar. Before we get going, I did want to show off our Clubrunnersupport.com knowledgebase. You can go to this website by going to Clubrunnersupport.com in your web browser. And this has a bunch of hundreds of different articles and video tutorials that myself, Mickey, and all our support teams have put together. And they all include lots of great information that you can use to get a really good head start on using Clubrunner as well as the Live Designer. So if you guys were looking for more specific stuff for the Live Designer, if we go to the Clubrunnersupport.com website and we scroll down just a little bit, we will find this section titled Website Guides. We click on this. This will be broken down into even further sections like the website content. We have a section specifically for widgets. And we also have one for the website designer itself. So I do highly recommend that you go through and take a look at all of these articles. We also, on this website, if you go ahead and click on the Contact Us button in the top right corner, you'll be able to go ahead and you can send myself, Mickey, or any of our other support colleagues an email with any questions or issues that you might be running into. So if you do need any additional help and you can't find any answers on the knowledge base or on this knowledge base that I've just shown you, you can always feel free to reach out to our support team and we'll be glad to help you take a look at what any issues or questions that you might have. We also have the clubrunnercommunity.com website. This is an online forum that, as long as you can log into Clubrunner, you can log into our Clubrunner community. You can log in using the exact same credentials that you use for your own website. And you can go through and you can post in these different forums looking for whether you want to start conversation with other Rotarians or Clubrunner users through these forums, whether it be just in the general section. If you have any feedback or suggestions for Clubrunner, you can post them here. And you can go through and you can start discussions with both our support team and other users of Clubrunner. Now, with all that said, we will be ending the webinar here. We will be ending the webinar here today. So I do recommend, again, if you want to reach out, either use the Clubrunnersupport Knowledgebase contact us button, or you can send an email to support@clubrunner.ca. Definitely check out the clubrunnercommunity.com website. And if you guys do want a club a directory on your phone that you can use at the tip of your fingertips, go to clubrunner.com/mobile, where you'll be able to download the Clubrunner mobile app for either your iPhone or Android devices. And you'll be able to log in and have access to that directory right through your phone. And if you guys do want to sign up for our final changeover training webinar, what will be happening tomorrow, for some more advanced information of the Live Designer, go to clubrunner.com/training, and you'll be able to register for that webinar there. Again, thank you all for joining us today. I hope all of the information that we had shown off was very helpful and you took away some good practices from the webinar. Take care, guys.